Good evening everyone. So now we are going to start our next lecture. In this lecture we will discuss about statements flow control. In our last lecture we discussed about expression, types of expression, mutable and immutable types in Python, some functions which are available in math module, and now we are going to start our last topic of chapter number 1, that is about statements flow control. Statements are generally the instructions and set of instructions makes up a program. Generally, a program executes from beginning to the ending. It means the statements which are written in the program will execute in the same order, in the order in which they are written in the program. Suppose you have written 10 statements in your program, then all these statements will execute in the order as they are written by you in your program. But not always we want to execute the statements in the same order, we want to modify the order of execution. So in this topic we will discuss how we can change the order of execution of the statements, and how we can repeat a set of instructions again and again instead of writing them in our program again and again. So in certain programs we don't want to execute the statements in the order as they are written in the program. We want to modify the order of execution, or we want to execute a set of statements again and again instead of writing them a number of times in our program. For that, Python provides some control structures to us, and these are conditional and iterative statements available. Conditional statements that you can use are if else, if. Thereafter we can use iterative statements like for and while. Then we will discuss about break and continue jumping statements which are available in Python. Before proceeding with our conditional and iterative statements, let us have a brief introduction about the type of statements that we use. Statement is also known as instruction. There are basically three type of statements that you can use in your program of Python or in any programming language. One is empty statement. Empty statement are basically used when your syntax of the language says some instruction is needed, but logic of your program says no instruction is needed. In that case you can use empty statement. Pass is an empty statement available in Python. It is also a keyword. It means you cannot name any identifier with name pass in lowercase characters. Thereafter, simple statements. A single executable unit is known as simple or single statement. Like here in our example we have given one example of input statement and one example of print statement to display the information or the contents on the standard output device, that is monitor. Thereafter, compound statement. Compound statements are basically a set of statements which is treated as a single unit. Every compound statement will have a header part and a body part, and header part will terminated by a special symbol, that is colon. All these statements which are in the body of the compound statement are indented at the same level, and there can be one or more statements within the body part of the compound statement. Now, statements flow control. Statements flow control means the order in which the statement will execute when our program will start its execution or processing. Now by default the statements executes in the order as they are written in the program from beginning to the end. But if we want to modify the order of execution on the basis of certain condition, then we can use selective statement or selection statement. These are also known as conditional statement. And if you want to repeat a set of instructions again and again instead of writing them in your program, then you can use iterative statement. These are also known as looping statements in Python. For and while are the iterative statements which are available in Python. In selective statements you can use if else, if elif, any of these as per your requirement. Now here are some basic steps that we always follow whenever we want to write any program in any of the programming language. Very first we need to identify the problem, what we want to do with the help of the program that we are going to write. Thereafter we need to analyze the problem, then we will write algorithm or we can design flowchart, then we will write our code, we will do implementation, we will test the program that is written by us that it is working properly or not, and then we need to use concept of debugging. Debugging is the process of removing the errors from the program. We will identify the errors and then we will correct these errors so that we can get the desired output. Thereafter we will implement our program again. Thereafter the last part that comes is maintenance part. Now let us have a brief introduction about the algorithm and flowcharts. Algorithm is the detailed procedure that we can write in any language, like you can write the algorithm in English, Hindi. It is not mandatory that you need to use a programming language for that. Here we have, it is a set of instructions on the basis of which the problem will be solved. Here we have the algorithm to find the addition of two numbers. To find addition of two numbers, you know that we need to input first number, we need to input second number. Thereafter we will add the first number with the second number, then their resultant will be stored in the third number, and then we will display the value of the third number on the standard output device. So next is about flowcharts. Flowchart is the graphical representation of an algorithm or a process. Like in the last part you seen how that we were writing the algorithm to find the addition of two numbers, and it consists of four number of lines. So if the complexity of our program is more, then it will need a number of lines, so it will become very difficult for others to understand. So instead of going with the algorithm, we can design the pictorial representation of the algorithm, that is known as flowchart. Here in our example we have shown you the flowchart for calculating the simple interest when we will provide the principal rate and time. Every program will have a well defined starting and ending point. These will be the first and the last representation that we will use in our flowchart. Thereafter, to provide input, we will use parallelogram. To represent the process, we are using rectangle. Thereafter, to print the value of the SI, we are again using parallelogram symbol. Some symbols that you can use are here given in this table. Now very first conditional statement is if statement. If statement is basically used to select statement for processing on the basis of certain condition. If your condition is true, then corresponding set of statement will execute, otherwise nothing will take place. The syntax is given here. We will write if in small case. It is a keyword in Python. Thereafter you need to specify the condition. The resultant of the condition will always boolean. It consists of zeros and ones. Thereafter you need to put colon sign. Then we will write one or more statements which will execute if our condition is true. Here in our screenshot you can see we have used a variable. It is having value 10. Then we are using a if statement here. If a is equal to 10. It is a comparison operator, is equal to. It means it will compare the value of a with 10. If it is equal to 10, then our condition is true and the statement will be executed. So value of a that is entered by us is 10. So 10 is equal to 10. Our condition is true, so this statement will execute a is equal to 10. Now our next part is if else statement. In if statement, what we see that if our condition is true, then some set of statements are being executed. But what happen if our condition is false? Then it simply ignores the instruction or nothing take place. If else is the modified version of if, that if our condition is true, then the statement corresponding to the if part will execute, otherwise the set of statements which are written in the else block will execute. It means some statement will always execute whether your condition is true or condition is false. So here you can see another example that we have written here. A is equal to 10. It means a is a label in the memory where value 10 is, which is pointing to the location where 10 is saved. If a is equal to 10, in this case our condition is true, then it will print a is equal to 10. Suppose instead of 10 what we have written, we write a is equal to 8. then 8 is equal to 10, condition become false. In that case, else part will execute that a is not equal to 10. Now one more modification in the if, thereafter we use if else. Now if elif, in if we specify a condition, if condition is true then we are getting, otherwise nothing take place. In if else, if our condition is true then block corresponding to if was executing, otherwise the statements which are written in the else block will execute. But what if we have more than one condition in our program? In that case we can use the concept of if elif. It means if you have multiple statements to execute on the basis of number of conditions, then in that case you can use if elif statement. It is the syntax of if elif. After if we will specify our first condition. If your condition is true then corresponding set of statement will execute, otherwise second condition will be checked which is written with elif keyword, then these statement will execute, otherwise third condition will be checked. If none of the condition is true then the statements which are written in the else block will execute. Here in our example you can see we are allowing the user to input the value of a at the time of execution. If user enter value of a as 10, then 10 is equal to 10, our condition is true, then we will get result as a is equal to 10. Otherwise it will check for the condition a is equal to 20. If a is equal to 20 then this statement will execute. If value of a is 30 entered by the user, then this statement will execute. If none of these condition is true then the statements which are written in the last else part will execute. Now next is about nested if else. Nested if else means if you are using a if statement within another if statement, then it is known as nested if. This inner if will execute if your outer if is true, otherwise it will not execute. So here in our example we have written the code to find out the largest of three numbers. We allow the user to input three numbers and their value will be a, b and c. It means a will point to the first number, b will point to the second number, c will point to the third number. If a is greater than b, then this block will execute. If a is not equal to b, then this part will execute. If a is greater than b and a is greater than c, then a is greater will be printed, otherwise c is greater will be printed. Fine. Otherwise it will check for the else part. If b is greater than c, then b is greater, otherwise c is greater. So with the help of this you can understand the working of the nested if, that if you are using a if statement within another if statement, then it is known as nested if, and inner part will execute if the condition or the outer if is true. Now let us discuss about the looping or repetition statements available in Python. Statements are the instructions which are written in any programming language. And suppose what you want to display welcome to Python on the screen 10 times, then you have two solutions. Either you have to write print welcome to Python 10 times in your program, or you can use a repetition statements, because if the need is to execute the particular instruction a large number of time, then instead of typing them again and again in our program, we will use the concept of loop and repetition statements, you can say. So whenever we discuss about any looping statements, there are basically some parts that we basically follows. Very first is start, because every loop, every repetition must have a starting point from which its execution or repetition will continue. Thereafter we will execute the statements corresponding to the loop, and it must have some ending. For that purpose we use a count variable. It will have some legal value at the starting, and when we want to terminate, then we need to modify the value of the count variable in between, so that when its value becomes out of the range, then execution of the loop will stop. So in Python, two looping statements are available to you. One is for loop and one is while loop. Before discussing for and while loop in detail, let us discuss about range and some membership operators which are available in Python. Now range function. Range function is an important function its syntax is range lower limit comma upper limit. It will generate a list of numbers from lower limit to upper limit minus 1. In our example, what we have written range bracket 0 comma 5. Then it will generate a list from 0 to 4. The third argument that we can also pass in a range function, that is known as step, and by default the value of the step is plus 1. Now instead of plus 1 we are using 2. It means it will generate number from 0 to 9, and every time it will increment the value by 2. So output will be a list which have the number 0 to 468. In our next example we have written 5 comma 0 comma minus 1. Then it will returns us a list with having the number from 5 to 1. Now we are using the step value as minus 1 to decrease the value. Now in and not in operator in Python. These two are membership operator available in Python. These are basically used to check whether the first value is available in the second part or not. Here in our example that you can see 3 in 1 2 3 4. So 3 is an element that is available in this list, so it will return true. Then we have written 5 in 1 2 3 4. It will return false because in the list there is no element whose value is 5. Not in performs the reverse operation of the in operator. We have written 5 not in 1 2 3 4. So it will return true because 5 is not present here. We have an example here with the in which we are using for loop. For is a keyword in Python. Thereafter you can use any valid identifier. Here we have used a. Then in is the membership operator. After in we need to use a sequence. You can use a tuple, string or a list here, and in that we want to execute these two statements. So what will happen now? For the very first time, value 1 will be assigned to a. So it will print 1 and square of 1 is 1 on the screen. Thereafter a will get next value available in the list. It means a will now have value 2. Then it will print 2 and square of 2 is 4. Thereafter a will have value 3. It will print 3 and 9. Fine. So it is the concept of for loop that we are using in our program. Now one more example here for you. Using the for loop we want to display table of a number. The syntax of for loop is given here. For is a keyword, var will be a valid identifier, in is the membership operator available. Instead of in you can also use not in if you want to use. Then your condition must have something so that it will not execute. Thereafter we need to write the statement that we want to repeat. In our code what we have written, we are allowing the user to enter a value and the value will be assigned to num. Suppose in our, and you can see in the screenshot that we have entered the value as 10 for a in range 1 comma 11. Then it means it will generate a list of numbers from 1 to 10 because it is not considering upper limit minus 1 it will use. So 11 minus 1 is 10. So first time it will print num multiply sign a is equal to num into a. It will print 10 into 1 is equal to 10 in the first case. Then a will have value 2. It will print 10 into 2 is equal to 20 and so on. So when value 10 will be reached, thereafter this block will execute for the last time and then our loop will terminate. Now our next looping statement is while loop. While loop is also used to repeat a set of instructions, and till your condition is true the statement will execute. When your condition becomes false, then the body of the loop will not execute or your loop will be terminated. Here is the syntax of the while loop. While is a keyword in Python. Thereafter you will specify a logical expression whose result will be true or false. Thereafter body of the loop, and in body of the loop there will be some statement that will increase or decrease the value of the count variable so that it becomes updated each and every time, and it must contain a value at the last which is illegal, so that loop will not execute infinite number of times. So the same example that we have written with the help of for loop, now we are here with the while loop. We allow the user to enter a variable, enter the value of or a digit or a number whose table you want to display on the screen. Thereafter c is equal to 1. It is initialization part. It means c is a count variable. Its value will decide how many number of times this body of the loop will execute. While c less than 11, it means till c is having the value less than 11, it means from 1 to 10, then it will execute, as we are increasing the value of c by 1 every time. So when for the first time c is less than 11, then it will print n into c is equal to c into n. So it will print 5 into 1 is equal to 5, as number entered by the user is 5. Thereafter c will have value 2. 2 is also less than 11, then it will print 5 into 2 is equal to 10. And this process will continue till c is having value less than 11. When c will have the value 11, so 11 is not less than 11, so this part will not execute and your loop will be terminated.